Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. First thing first, if you haven't already, make sure you've clicked the subscribe button over here in the corner like my friend over there. Let's get right to it. It says the relationship between variables r and t is expressed through the following inequality, where rt is less than 0 and 0 is less than minus r, which is greater, r or t. Now you've got the four options on the right, either r is greater, t is greater, r and t are equal, or the last one, this cannot be determined from the information given. Okay. So first things first, what I'm going to do is rewrite the question, the inequality down here. So I've got RT is less than 0 and this is less than minus R, right? Well, you can see clearly that we've got two expressions either side of 0, don't we, right? So we can say for sure that one is negative and one is positive. So let me just do that. So the first one, RT, we can see clearly that RT is less than 0. In other words, RT is negative for sure, right? Any number less than 0 is negative, right? And the next one, we've got minus R is greater than 0, right? Just from the inequality. So therefore, we've got minus R is positive for sure. Now, the most logical thing for me to do is, well, I've got two separate inequalities and they both have the same variable, right? R, right? Only one has t. So because I've got two inequalities with the variable r, I'm going to try and determine the behavior of r, if there's anything I can determine from it, right? So let's look at the first, let's look at the minus r, yeah? So we've got minus r is greater than 0, yeah? So wherever minus r is, it is a positive number. Don't be confused, don't let it trick you, right? We have, even though there's a negative sign, right? It says minus r is positive. So whatever minus r is a positive number. Try and give examples to yourself. Think of an example of a positive number. Let's say 10. We know that 10, right, is greater than 0, right? 10 is positive, no problems there. Can we express this positive number in a way that we have a minus sign? Of course we can. If I just do this here quickly, I've got 10. We could rewrite 10 as well. We've got a minus, and then we could write another minus inside, right? And this still equals 10, which is greater than 0. So therefore, for sure, minus 10 is also greater than 0. Yeah? So clearly here, you can see the relationship between the minus and the expression inside, right? For this to work, you need the expression inside to be a negative number, right? Because two negatives make a positive. So going back to this expression here, we've got minus r, isn't it? Well, minus r is the same as minus 1 times r, isn't it? Right? The same way minus 10 is the same as minus 1 times minus 10, right? For this to be greater than 0, right, the r, the expression r, will have to be a negative number. So I'm going to write negative here, right? Negative. Yeah? So therefore, because two negatives make a positive, isn't it? So if you have one expression, if you have an expression and one of the factors is minus 1, the other one has to also be negative to ensure that the whole expression is positive, right? So we can therefore conclude from that therefore r is less than 0 for sure. This is definitely a fact, right? Given the inequality that they've given to us, yeah? So for sure we know r is negative, right? Now let's go back to the other inequality, yeah? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to scroll down just to get some more space, yeah? Okay. So for sure we know that r is less than 0, right? Now remember, let's go to this one here, rt. So we had rt is also negative, right? Well, we have some information about r, yeah? If I rewrite rt, I'm going to write rt is the same as r times t, right? And we know that this is negative, right? It's less than 0. To ensure this is less than 0, right? Given the fact that we know r is negative, so what I could do here, I'm just going to rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite r and t in terms of its sign, right? So r we know is negative for sure. right? And then we don't know the sign of t, yeah? So I'm going to put a question mark here. But we do know altogether that this equals a negative answer because it is less than 0, right? What way can you have a negative number multiplied by something else and then get a negative at the end? The only way that can happen is that if the sign is opposite to the sign before, right? So what I mean by that is that, well, if we have a negative number, the only way that you can times something by a negative number and you get a negative outcome is if the other number is positive, right? That is the only way, yeah? So because of that, for sure, we know that t is positive, for sure, right? And can you see we've determined the sign of both variables, right? R is less than 0 and t is greater than 0. So therefore, t is greater, isn't it? And you're finished.